let's take a step back and let's talk about the question that I got about this minivan. One of the reasons why I got into this minivan van life culture, I'm hoping that whatever I share here, you guys find useful. It's comfortable, let's start with that. But it's sort of like, and this is what does it for me at this time, at this point in my life. I may not agree, okay? I may not agree. Hey guys, how you doing? And I'm glad that I'm able to make these videos sort of on the fly. You know, I've been doing this for about a year and a half or so. And if you look at my first set of videos, you know, they're a little rough. I was putting a lot of effort into them, and maybe in some cases too much effort. I was concentrating too much on, you know, filming or whatever it is. Even though I don't think I'm a great filmmaker, I think it's pretty rough much of the time. So anyway, that's like a quick little thing that I'm talking about regarding my van build and my van life and how I'm documenting it and sharing it with you guys on YouTube because I want to. I'm hoping that whatever I share here, you guys find useful. And really, useful is a relative term. There's all kinds of ways to look at that term, useful. You know, is it useful in terms of, hey, I just showed you guys how to put up a wonderful ceiling at the top of your minivan? Or is it useful in that, hey, you know what? I kind of like listening to James babble every so often, which, you know, lately more and more, I've got this need to sort of express a lot of things that I've experienced with this minivan and how it's become my home away from home. And I think that's really important. And one of the reasons why I got into this minivan, van life culture, whatever you want to call it, there seems to be this sort of like huge amount of information about what's what. And I mentioned it in my previous video about, you know, van lifing, full-time van lifing, part-time van lifing. And those are subjects that I really want to get into later on. But you know, but for now, let's take a step back and let's talk about the question that I got about this minivan. It's no secret that minivans aren't like most cargo vans, like a Ford E350 or a Chevy Express. You know, these things are tiny. It's sort of made to carry an 8x4, 8 feet by 4 feet plywood, and you know, that's very useful. And so 8x4, that's about 32 though. So this is about 32 square feet right here. Yeah, 32 square feet. And so what ends up happening is there are certain challenges in terms of trying to build something out with 32 square feet compared to other vans like cargo vans, full-size vans, where you do have a lot more room with length and even height, right? So this is a pretty, like a minivan, hence the term, yeah, minivan, right? Yeah, that's why it's small. Minivan, mini. And as a minivan, there's design considerations you have to take into account. And as a minivan, there's also a lot of issues in terms of, you know, in terms of height, you know, how you're going to do certain things, how are you going to cook, how are you going to sleep. You know, a cargo van, it's like a mansion compared to this thing. So all those things sort of roll up into what I have here. I've got a kitchenette, I've got a bed system going, I've got storage, I've got heating, I've got AC, I've got all of those little things that make a little home. Okay, so what was the question again? What was the question? I completely forgot the question. Oh yes, the question was, what's it like living in your minivan? For example, when I'm traveling, this becomes my home away from home, okay? When I go camping, this becomes my home away from home. So it is like a little home. I have spent a long time in this minivan, and even on my lunch breaks at work, even when I'm just sort of chilling out, I could literally spend an entire day in here and be completely comfortable. So what's it like? And the best way for me to answer that is, you know, it's comfortable. Let's start with that. But it's sort of like being in a pup tent. Ever been in a pup tent? It's a small one. They're small tents. So, but unlike a pup tent, it has all these other things here. Unlike a pup tent, I could like stretch out. Now, if I wanted to stand up somewhere, I'd have to basically exit the van, and that's something that I'm really looking into. Is I've been thinking about getting a high roof, but along with that are expenses associated with a high roof. For example, a larger van, gas mileage, and with the way gas has been lately, it's been pretty expensive, right? So right now I'm sticking with the minivan. I'm quite happy with my wonderful silver cabin. So in terms of what's it like being in a minivan and kind of living in it, whether full-time or part-time, living in it as a home away from home, well, it's better than the pup tent, and it's comfortable, and I could definitely stay here for a very long time. And one other thing to keep in mind is, like, when it comes to this particular van, when it comes to anything like even a cargo van or anything, it's still to me a step up from a tent. It's got wheels, you could travel, a lot of, I think, what I would call conveniences compared to staying in a tent. And so you can consider it like a metal tent almost, where there's a lot of comforts that you can put in, so very comfortable. So that's the answer to the question, what's it like being in a minivan or living in a minivan? You know, definitely not as comfortable as bricks and sticks. Personally, I like bricks and sticks, but I also like the level of comfort that I do enjoy when I'm traveling. The comfort that I do enjoy when I could just pull up to any type of lakeside or wonderful view and spend a day there, you know, without having to worry about maybe the elements, maybe the snow or the rain, whatever the case may be, right? But it's comfortable. Now, can it be more comfortable by being in a larger vehicle? Of course, right? But along with that comfort, there may be an uncomfortable price tag associated with it. So you really have to find a balance. It really depends on what your personal situation is in terms of how you want to travel, maybe around the States or your area, or in my case, within the province of Ontario. And this is what does it for me at this time, at this point in my life. So instead of, for example, buying a cottage or renting a cottage, I'm saving, or going to a hotel, I am literally saving thousands of dollars, okay, by using my minivan as a place to stay. I'm not stationary like at a cottage. Granted, there are certain advantages to cottages as well, but right now, I'm very happy where I am. Okay guys, I hope you kind of like this van chat. I know some of you guys said, hey, you know, bring it back a bit more, and so here I am just sharing my little viewpoints, and again, they're just my viewpoints. These are just my viewpoints. You know, none of this stuff, none of what I say is gospel. Like, you know, if you have a point to make, and, you know, share it. You know, I will listen. I may not agree, okay? I may not agree, but I will listen, and on top of that, I will also comprehend. See, there's a difference. You know, people communicate. Lots of people like to communicate. They communicate. There's so much communication. I think we live in the most over-communicated society in the history of man. So you have all this communication happening, but very little comprehension. Think about that. All this communication happening between people, but very little comprehension. And I think that's one of the reasons why things sort of go south or things break down. People are just communicating, but they're not really understanding. They're not understanding what's being said. They're not feeling what's being said, and they're not empathizing with what's being said. Yeah, I think I got it right. Okay guys, thanks very much, and I really appreciate your time. And if you like this video, please subscribe, like it. You know, what's the expression? Hit that thumbs up button. And yeah, if you think it's worthy, subscribe. And remember, you are awesome. Okay, remind yourself of that. I think what you should do, you should think of 3 amazing things you did in your life that you're really proud of. As for me, this is one of the things I'm really proud of, is building out my minivan, my fortress of solitude. Yeah. Okay guys. Bye.